Regardless of your age, gender, race, nationality, sexual orientation and/or religion, you can become a better human being today by delivering death to the Heelys. Do it today for free, only in War Thunder. Hello there and welcome back to War Thunder. I hope you enjoyed the intro as much as I enjoyed playing this one old love of mine, one of my all-time favorite tanks in War Thunder, the one and only the Chieftain Mark III. And there is so much memory going with this tank, but I think that I should start from the start. This tank was the first tank that brought a completely different magnitude of firepower to the battlefield, and a very specific gameplay that I absolutely enjoyed. This was a completely different time in War Thunder, where machines here like this Italian speedy pizza delivering boy wasn't a thing, when many nations weren't in the game, and especially when it was more about the mouse versus the Soviet heavy tanks such as the IS-4, the IS-3 and the T-54s, and especially those Soviet tanks that I just named, and their armor was a real challenge to overcome from the front versus German tanks at that time. So I really enjoyed this tank. And it is obviously the turret armor with the hull down capacity of this tank together with the awesome gun. The gun. Oh my god, has the gun changed over the years. So the Chieftain Mark III fields the awesome 120mm Ordnance BL-TK-L11 with at that time an unheard of reload for that caliber of 7.5 seconds. And these days the APDS has the following stats. The shot L15A3 penetrates 320mm of flat armor and 164mm at angled armor with a mass velocity of 1370 meters per second. The shell L31A7 hash round is very interesting as it has 152mm of penetration at any distance and at any angle, and the coaxial heavy machine gun, the L21A1 with its unique AIA shells, has the same trajectories as the hash shell, so you could range find with the machine gun. Now then, also since the beginning, the L34 smoke shell was added to smoke up sniping positions to give yourself some additional cover, in addition to your smoke grenades that you can launch. And yeah, the tank has seen one further change throughout the years. When the tank was introduced, the shot L15A3 had 400mm of penetration against flat armor. It was the time when I thought, okay, that's it with armor, you know. Where I had no idea what modern tanks have in terms of composite armor, ear protection, etc, etc, etc. So yeah, this tank, it was just such a great memory, because I love to go hull down, to go literally the extra mile and position myself, keep calm, and then just farm enemy tanks at long ranges, giving my team very often the advantage that it needed to turn the game, by cutting down the supplies of the enemy team, by prioritizing the really hard nuts to crack, etc, etc. So you can see this was a time of very tactical gameplay that I thoroughly miss these days. The tank hasn't really aged that well. In the worst case scenario, nowadays, you're fighting alongside the XM1 and you're facing the Leopard A1A1 L44, the OF40 MTCA, the Type 74G, and many other tanks, especially such as the very capable Swedish top tier CV90-105 TML. They have higher firepower, 6.7 second reload, so shorter reload. They have APFSTS. They have at least equal or mostly better gun handling, and they are vastly superior with their mobility, and their lesser armor doesn't really matter because your armor means nothing to them in the first place. And so yeah, it's all about mobility these days and lolpenning stuff. But put into the right situation, and especially in those magic down tiers, the tank still got it. And this is where I love it, right? And so this battle right here that you're seeing is one of those battles where I just found myself a nice spot to farm the enemy tanks as they are coming along. It's the good old frontline camping playstyle that I also love, and I'm not far from spawn camping, and still I have one hell of an impact on the gameplay by taking out some of the heaviest armor that the enemies can field, and that is always something that very often results in an overall advantage of my team. Here I tactically smoked up, I tried to make him with the shot, etc. And then I push aggressively through the smoke, and yeah, I guess he didn't expect this. Smoke can be used as a defensive weapon or an offensive one, how you play it. So, I think there are so many memories that I should mention one, and that is not something made up, that actually happened multiple times. In arcade we had the Poland map, and very often, especially in arcade, the cap was just in the middle of the city, and yeah, you had to go around the lake. A lot of people were used to just shoot with the aiming helping indicator, you know, the funny red, yellow, or in the best case scenario green aiming reticle that helps you range finding in arcade. But there was a maximum range. Oh my god, that snapshot. Yeah, sehr gut. Sorry. And they just didn't see me because they couldn't mark me, they couldn't click on me, and very often they missed their shots. So I could go around the lake. Then I was hull down, and I just rained death and destruction at range down without actually the help of the aiming reticle. So those were the days, right? But that was not the magic part. The magic part is that a few SPA actually went through the effort of going with me, of escorting me and shooting down the planes, because that has several reasons. First of all, I was a valuable tank on the team. I could take care of even the strongest armor that there was on the enemy team, and they knew that people in their aircraft would come for me, so I guarantee work for the SPA. It was one of those magic symbioses in War Thunder. Symbioses? Is that even a word? I don't know. Anyway, back to the gameplay. So here I pushed aggressively into the cap, smoking up, and then getting the repair done in half the time, while getting also a crew member back and having a steady resupply of smoke. This is why I made this rather risky move, if you are not aware of how the game mechanics work in War Thunder or what my train of thought was. Anyway, so yeah, Sinai, also a great map for going hull down, for having somewhat longer combat distances, or at least avoiding here the strict city fight conditions, in which this tank isn't really doing all that well because it is rather clumsy, slow, has a huge side, and even the front can be panned by World War II tanks with ease if you look at the lower glaciers. And most case scenario is a one-shot, especially when fired at with APHE or APCBC with a TNT filler. So I still think that this tank mostly lives through memory. I also especially noticed that this tank was a great love of mine, while I absolutely and to this day despise the Conqueror, because the Conqueror just has this significantly longer reload that allows you to not finish off target. You know, they can get back their driver and get into cover, and also the Conqueror, when I played it back in the days, I often hit ammo and it just went black, and that's it, and it didn't go off. And with this tank, you could aim for another ammo rack, or then take out the crew quick enough, so that I made 4 or 5 times the amount of kills with this tank compared to the Conqueror. So that is just to put things into perspective. And that, believe it or not, is an E100. It has been years since I saw one on the enemy team, to be honest. And yeah, he actually didn't play that badly because he made excessive use of his 75. But the greatest mistake for that guy was to take out his E100 in the first place. I guess he really enjoys 30,000 silver line repair cost. Sorry. Anyway, so oh, I love this scene, by the way. So I get here the Leopard 1 kill. Then this guy kills my driver. I smoke up, aim at the gap, wait for him to shoot his machine gun, and then blap him. So good. When this happens, that's just the cherry on top of the cake. And yeah, this tank, when you get a good battle in it, it feels just so good. It feels just so mighty. It feels just so British. And there is one other thing that I want to mention here. This is the first tank in the British line of Chieftains. You know, there is the Chieftain Mark III, this one, that is the first one. That also has the talisman, and I played it so much that I actually played for the ace qualification, you know, by playing. In the folder, there's the Chieftain Mark V at the same battle rating, the Chieftain Mark X, the Challenger Mark II, the Challenger Mark III, the Challenger 2, and then the Challenger 2F. And, you know, in one of the more subtle ironies of War Thunder, with the first of this hull-down monster tanks, I researched the Challenger 2F. So, just, you know, that the circle is complete. And, yeah, the circle is complete is also the motto for this Panther 2. Yeah, I directly aim at him, and that was a one-shot. Beautiful. So those were 6 kills, and the match is about to end, and we earn ourselves a well-deserved heavy metal hero and survivor, because this tank actually is a survivor in one way or another to this day. And I think that's just... I actually missed playing this tank, to be honest. There is something inside of me that really missed this tank. Nearly 13,000 silver lines, no, 30,000 RP and 57,000 silver lines. Yeah, a little bit of a happy ending for me today. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope that you enjoyed the vibe of this video. Give it a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more. And let me know your memories of your first super tank. And with that, we will see each other on the waves in the skies and on the battlefields of War Thunder.